Today's episode has been brought to you by Squarespace. Hello and welcome back to Hudson Auto Films. Today you join me yet again with my low drag E-Type thing known as the Wildcat. If you didn't see the first episode on this build, me and my friend Isaac flew all the way to France. We got a one-way ticket and went to look at this car with the hope that we'd be able to drive it home. Wow. The thing was, it hadn't been started in many years. Miraculously, it fired up and then we attempted to drive it about 500 miles back to England. And possibly even more miraculously, other than one small breakdown which was due to running out of fuel, it took us all the way home. It was a wonderful adventure, so do check it out. The goal of today is very different though. We're not driving anywhere, we're going to turn it into a true low drag racing car. Now I heard what you guys wanted for this car and today we're going to do just that. Number one, we are going to remove the bizarre LPG system, which is totally not right for this car, and get it running on good old petrol. But of course that is not all. It's going to get a bunch more upgrades like new grills, new number plates, new badging, and of course, a straight pipe race exhaust. So let's turn this into a proper low drag racer. So since getting back from the road trip, I haven't really unpacked the car. It's full of loads and loads of spare parts and I'm not really sure what's in there. So let's have a look. Our emergency bag. This was needed. Racing gloves. And some sunglasses. These are rather nice. A bit of metal trim. The rear view mirror, zip ties. The interior really is in a sorry state, but that is not for this episode. That is the next episode. We're going to give this a proper interior that sort of is more in keeping with its lovely exterior looks. Now the boot. We had a lot of stuff to take, including loads of parts, suitcases, so it's kind of amazing how much we got in this car. But the boot also needs to be cleared because, well, we need to say bye to this very shortly. So what do we have? Obviously. Oh, that's got a lot of bits in it. Ooh. Very nice. A blanket. Nationwide platforms. Return samples. An oil line. And French LPG filling adapter. Fuel pipe. Air conditioning pipe. What the heck is in here? Oh. Lots of stuff. Lovely headlights, more zip ties, a bottle jack. It's got it all in here. Strut, aluminium, sill plate, a spare windscreen wiper. What the heck is this? Ignition lead set. Oh, very nice. Looks to be brand new. Headlight. Oh, this is the headliner. Nice. Rather sticky. More aluminium. Part of our wing mirror. P120 sandpaper. Oh. Spare wheel, well, emergency wheel. Bag, our wing mirror, which almost flew off. A whole new ignition setup, lovely. Another old Smith's gauge. Strut and cloth. Aluminium, trim, another wiper. Rubbish. Ah, my pliers. Cool. Wow, that is a remarkably large boot. I never thought we'd get to the bottom, and with the removal of the LPG, it's going to be pretty large. Call me a detective, but I think the car may have been blue before. No, don't want receiver settings. Okay, we should be fine. Okay, before we tackle the LPG, let's do something that I think will be quite fun. Exhaust. Now the exhaust that is on it is a V12 exhaust off a E-Type V12, but I'd like to go for something full on low drag, sort of two pipes sticking out, no silencers, and hopefully it won't be too rowdy. I want it to be quite rowdy, but just not. We'll see, we might need some silencers. So for continuity, I'm going to give you a sample of this exhaust tone, then I'm going to give you a sample of it basically with no exhaust at all, just the downpipe. And once we've built the new exhaust, we'll then get some samples of that and decide whether we've made a good decision or a horrible one. So, standard exhaust. Okay, so the more this channel and these builds grow, the more I've realized how many of you guys want to show off your own car builds and your own car-related businesses. And with the help of our friends over at Squarespace, this has never been easier. Probably my favorite feature is their Blueprint AI, which basically means you can build a perfect website without any design experience. You just answer a few questions about your goals for the website, what you want to do, what you want to achieve, what sort of style you want, and a few moments later, you've got a beautiful bespoke website ready for you. And if you want to offer anything through your website, whether it's a service, a product, whatever, Squarespace has all the tools built in so you can do just that. You can schedule in meetings, book appointments, and they also have all the systems ready for you to sell products and take payments. So whatever your project may be, whether you want to show off your car builds or you want to start your own business, Squarespace is genuinely one of the easiest ways to get online. So what are you waiting for? Go to squarespace.com and start your free trial today. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Hudson for 10% off your first purchase of your website or domain. A huge thank you to Squarespace for making this episode possible. It doesn't sound too bad, but it sort of sounds like a low-powered hairdryer. So time to get this thing off. As you can see, the rear exhaust mounts have already made a start on their own. They snapped about a mile into the journey, which was rather exciting. The exhaust has fallen off. Okay, so I have a feeling this is going to be quite noisy. That's very fucking loud. That is too bloody loud. It's like a bloody tractor. Okay, so I'm going to say that maybe that was a little bit loud, but that's not to say that with an extra sort of 6 feet of straight pipe, it won't be too loud, but it probably will be. So let's take this in stages. Okay, so initially my plan was basically to cut out both the boxes, pipe between it, and just start it up. But given how loud it is, I'm thinking maybe complete straight pipe is going to be too much. I want it to be a bit naughty, but I also don't want it just to sound like a tractor. Like that did sound like a tractor. So to kick things off, I think I'm going to cut here just beyond the angle, then position this piece back in. This is obviously the majority of it and where it mounts. This area just seems like the most sensible place to get rid of first. We need to maintain the angle, so if we put the straight pipes up, they're in the right position. But yeah, we'll put it on this length and see how it sounds. And if it sounds okay, then we can just straight pipe here. If it sounds a bit quiet, then this one goes too. And with some very high-tech fabrication completed, it's time to put this back on and see how it sounds. So after many hours of messing around with the exhaust and listening to it, it was getting there. But it still sounded a little bit gutless. It sounded pretty good actually on camera, but in person it just wasn't quite there. I wanted something deeper, a bit more raspy. So it's time to get some pipe on order and we'll touch base with the exhaust system a little bit later on. So whilst we wait on all of that, it's time to attack this rather bizarre LPG system. Bizarre in, why on earth is it in this car? Of all the cars, it doesn't seem quite fitting. Okay, so LPG time, but before we remove the LPG, we want to make sure we can get it to run on petrol and figure out why it wasn't running on petrol when we were in France. Otherwise, if we take out the LPG and then address that, the car is completely immobile, whereas right now it is still mobile with the LPG. So let me give you a quick walk around on the system. So here is the massive LPG tank, and this is our little petrol tank. Now, when we were in France, we obviously ran out of LPG. We had filled up the petrol tank, but when we ran out of fuel, we went over here to this little geezer, who basically allows you to switch between LPG and petrol. We switched it and, well, it wouldn't do anything. So we then traced the fuel. We made sure that the fuel was actually pumping, and we did establish that fuel was getting all the way to our carbs, but it wasn't firing. Now, there's many reasons why this might have been happening. Obviously, we put fresh fuel in, but that's not to say there was an old fuel in the lines, which was reaching there first. There might have been loads of gunk in the lines. Who knows? But you'd think there would be at least a splutter, which there wasn't. So we need to figure out why fuel is getting there, but not doing a thing. So step one, we're going to dismantle the carbs and see what is going on. And after some disassembly, we stumbled upon something which might be the answer on why it wasn't running on fuel. So one carb is open, and as you can see, this is the piece that shoots the gas in. So this is our LPG setup, which simply bolts onto the carbs. But what is interesting is look inside there. That obviously is our lifter that should be going up and down, but it is pinned, so it is fixed in an open position. Now that's not going to allow a car to run very well. You can see it just goes down. Weird. So let's investigate. So we've taken the carbs semi to pieces, taken the top off of it, and as you can see there is a solid lifter in there. What's also interesting is this one is even higher. So what do you think? Why is one higher than the other? Why are these here at all?
Maybe one can supply fueling for idle, the other one is not used at all, I don't know. Normally you have vacuum lifters in the top of the dashpots here, where you supply a vacuum into this and it lifts the piston out of the way. And then when you switch away from petrol, there's no more fuel coming out of the where the needle goes into the bore there. So the fuel is cut off and then the dashpot stays up and then you just work off a normal throttle. But this seems to be like a halfway situation.
Weird. So we're going to whip them off and investigate further. So basically, if that didn't make sense, right now there is a fixed lifter in each of the carbs keeping the throttle slide up, and basically those need to have movement in order for the petrol to work and for the whole carb system to work, so they are locked in place. So yeah, that is why, well, potentially one of the reasons, certainly one of the reasons why it wasn't running on petrol, but there might be more lurking within.
Right, what have we got here then? Right, let's put it on the bench and take the bottom off. Mucky. Oh, jeez.
That's foul.
That is solid.
Wow.
Look at the float. Pushing on the valve there, but it's doing nothing.
Oh yeah.
Right, let's take this tube now. Yeah. That's long.
So that's the blocket.
Well, let's see.
Oh no, it's still in there.
It's in there. No, that's the original. This is something else. That's the lifter. That's the original that the needle will go into if we don't get the dashpot. It sits like this. Fuel is sucked in here. And as the airflow increases, this dashpot lifts with the airflow when the throttle opens. And by lifting, it's taking this needle from quite a thick diameter. It's quite a thin diameter, so the more it lifts, the more fuel goes in. Because you can see, that hole is consistent. That gives you a bigger area. Oops. And that gives you a smaller area. So less fuel, more fuel. So as the dashpot rises, the amount of fuel increases. Very simple carburation. So that all works, that's good. That's how it's supposed to be. But this thing, that's not supposed to be there.
So you reckon if we just pull that out, it might function?
Well, it might be part of this. We'll probably have to take that out and have a look at that. And if we have to swap it for another carburetor piece, then we'll get the hollow.
So that is our blocker.
Yeah, that's the lifter, or whatever it could be. Yeah, someone's put some stainless tube in there, basically.
Wow.
That's just a piece of stainless.
Yeah.
Blocking it all, lifting the dashpot all the way up.
Yeah.
Who knows why?
So can we just put the other back in?
I don't know, can we just knock that out of here and call it a day?
Yeah.
We'll try knocking it out then. Strength. Ooh.
There it is.
Pop.
So now that returns it to its original form.
We think it
we
might.
hope.
We have to get the... Where's the jetty thing? There it is. Because that goes in the base like that. That's where it was.
Yeah.
But it should be flush when it comes up to the base there. So that goes in like that. I'll have to put it back in here and see what it looks like. So if we look in through this hole here, not quite flush.
No.
So
can we tap it, or is that?
Yeah, it's a bit corroded, so it needs a bit of cleaning there. I know just the right thing to clean that, don't you?
Oh, benchy.
Benchy. Just in case of the lightning strike. Let's do this.
Nice.
Gently. Still covered in crap though, isn't it? Right, we need to do the... You've got to play it, whatever it is, you've got to play it, haven't you? No, not blocked, that's good. There's a small problem there.
Not being flat.
It's got some kind of lippage where the thing was sat before. That tube was rammed in there. It's now got a step on it.
So the fixed lifter modification had caused some damage, but luckily we had some spare carbs on hand which we could pillage some parts from. So what's going down? We've stripped one down, and well, two down really, to see what's going on.
It's full of crap.
Yeah.
Absolutely full of crap. And of course, there's been some tomfoolery going on with the jet. Well, I call it a jet. It's actually just a a tube that the needle runs in. That had a big stainless steel tube rammed into it. So we've removed that and just checked against this carburetor here to see if the depth that it's sitting at is correct. Just done a bit of sanity checking. And everything looks all right now. I think we're running in the right place. So we can put it back together, give it a clean, of course. Definitely clean out the valve for the float, because that's probably full of crap. Put it back together and hopefully we've got one running carburetor. Then we've got one more to look at.
And with everything looking a little bit cleaner, we could put it back together and that would be one carb hopefully fixed.
So of course one of the things we need to check is that the float is actually going to turn the valve on and off. And if the valve is blocked, then we won't get any fuel through. So of course it's got a tube on it, we have to play it. Yep, it's a good tune.
Beautiful tune.
Yep, so there we are. It's working, that'll be fine.
One down, one more to go. Well, they look a whole lot better, but would this resolve our petrol issue? Well, let's put them on and find out. And before we send any fuel to our nice clean carbs, we wanted to just run the system a little bit, get any dirty fuel out of the lines and see how well it was pumping in general.
For fuel pump wiring.
Yeah. Jeez. Hit it. Oh. Getting loads out one and none out the other. Oh yeah, the other one's pumping now. Yeah. Now that one's higher, it's not pumping. That one's lower and is pumping. So yeah, they're both pumping fuel.
What's the colour like? Is it shit?
It is sort of like urine when you've not had a drink of water in a long time.
Yeah, it's not good petrol, but...
And with fuel pumping, it was time to introduce some nice clean fuel to the system because that golden stuff, well, it wasn't quite the right shade of gold. So fuel was pumping and we had a temporary fuel tank ready to go. So, will it run? So everything is getting to the right place, but now we need to see if it will combust. So petrol's getting there, but whether it will be happy, obviously the carbs are back together and in theory functioning, but we'll have to see if it's happy or unhappy.
And we've got no chokes at the moment. So
and no chokes are hooked up.
Manually tickle the chokes.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that works.
Right?
Yeah.
Fire time or attempt?
It's attempt to fire.
The exhaust is currently off the car, so you're gonna know if this thing runs. Here goes nothing. Well, that's progress.
The ignition timing's a bit out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually runs.
It runs, that's petrol.
Yeah. So it's running on petrol.
It sort of runs anyway.
So what do you think is... The throttle seemed completely unresponsive, really.
The throttle was just giving it more fuel. I think the fueling's wrong, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It needs a lot of choke, it needs full throttle. So, something didn't work.
So this was a big moment. The car is running on petrol, but obviously it's not actually set up. The carbs have not been messed around with. They're probably completely useless. The timing is probably out. So it is time to make some small adjustments and see if we can get this thing to run a little bit better. After lots of tweaking, it was running a lot better. Still a lot more messing around to do, but we're getting there. And the barn smelled like petrol, which was a better smell than LPG. And now we know the petrol system works, it's time to remove this LPG system. So it's running, and we need to do more fiddling. Sorry, you're eating peanuts.
Peanuts, yeah.
But it's LPG time. Now, I've not hidden the fact that I find LPG quite scary, and I think quite a few people do. So the idea of removing this massive tank, but you seem completely nonchalant about it.
It's a sealed system. The tank itself is intrinsically safe. Not easy to say when you've got a mouthful of nuts. But
classic you.
But what it is, basically, is it's all sealed up until this point here, where you've got the solenoid that switches the gas, the liquid. It's actually liquid coming out of the tank. Switches the liquid on to go through this copper pipe here, all the way around to the front of the engine, where the vaporizer is. That's also got a solenoid that switches on to let the liquid into the vaporizer to turn it into gas and be fed into the engine. So if we just get this line here, there's no power going to this solenoid, it'll just stay closed. The gas pressure inside it, liquid and a little bit of gas, the gas pressure is keeping it closed. So until there's no pressure, that's going to keep itself absolutely closed. You're not going to open it without pulling that solenoid. So it's safe.
So when you pump it in, is it gas you're pumping in?
Liquid.
So when I've got the thing, that's liquid.
LPG, liquefied petroleum gas.
But it gives off a bit of gas when it's in there.
When it heats up, it expands into a gas which goes into the engine.
Okay.
You have to give it some heat, or let it chill everything down around it. And if you do that, if you don't have a heat source to expand it, it'll freeze everything. So everything, with an aerosol, you spray them in too much and it all freezes.
Yeah.
That's what this would do. And it'll freeze the vaporizer, and any water in there, which there's a tiny bit of water, will turn into ice. It'll all stop working. You don't drive any further, so it has to be heated.
Okay. So then, when it comes to removing this, and you just leave it, will it leak or will it what?
It may just ooze a little bit. Sometimes you'll see a bit of oil coming around out of the connectors because it's forcing the tiny bit of oil in the LPG in the liquid. A little bit of flavour coming out of it, but nothing much. It'll stay there for as long as it does. Could be 10 years before it's empty.
And how would something like that blow up?
It wouldn't. They don't blow up. It's got a vent valve here. If you look inside there, you see the big spring and the big brass plug at the end. If this gets hot in a fire, like very hot, the excess pressure will just push this open slightly. It'll vent off, and with this cap here, inside the sealed box with these tubes vent down to the outside of the car. These pipes carry on along the outside of the car into the engine bay. So any vented gas would just be forced down these tubes and out the bottom of the car. Yeah. And it'd be like a little flamethrower coming out the bottom of the car, just popping gas out now and again until it's empty. So it never explodes.
Okay, and there's liquid in those pipes right now?
In these metal pipes, yes.
Yeah. So we're going to have to remove that liquid as well?
It'll just escape.
Yeah.
There's only a tiny amount because the pipes are only internal diameter about 4 millimeters.
So that'll drip out as opposed to gas out?
It'll turn to gas.
But then you said the gas is really hard to remove from places.
It can be. It can puddle, so it won't be much though. If this leaked, you'd have a layer of gas on the floor all around us, you know, and it would stay there if you didn't open the doors or have any airflow. It would just stay there because it's heavier than air. A tiny amount of gas in this line here, which is what, 6-7 feet from here to the other solenoid, if there's any gas left in it, that would just disperse. There's not enough of it to collect anyway.
Yeah.
So it should be gone.
Cool. You heard it here.
Sort of.
So with that safety lesson out of the way, I was feeling marginally better. Maybe not. We decided to roll the car outside as that was a little bit more gas than we were expecting. Remember, do not try this at home and only use technically approved methods. But just like that, the LPG tank was now separate from the system.
Yeah.
Oh, LPG tank removed. It does look like you've just removed a massive bomb.
Yeah, I fried it all the way. Look. Yeehaw!
No, don't tempt fate.
You know, I'm set on the valves.
Oh no.
If that lets go, I'm full of gas, man.
Yeah, you already are.
Same as always, yeah.
The LPG tank was out, and look at all of that boot space. Now, this was a huge job achieved. This just wasn't the right fit for the car, and I just didn't really love it. There's hardly any fueling stations, and it smelled like eggs. So, yeah, this was a good move. But yeah, look at that. The ride height has also gone dramatically up, and it was already pretty high. Anyway, time to store the LPG tank safely around the corner.
Thanks to the side, yeah.
Right, time for a cigarette.
Yeah,
Now the LPG tank was out, it was time to remove all the supporting systems. First up, the microscopic fuel tank. Obviously, we'll be replacing this later in the episode for a proper fuel tank. And with everything in the boot cleared out and our very, very small fuel tank decommissioned, it was time to turn our attention to the front of the car. And this is where the LPG is turned into gas.
There we go, came off. So the gas.
We were mostly LPG free by this point. Just a few more bits like removing the electrical system to turn it from fuel to petrol, even though it didn't even work, and a bunch of lines which are running somewhere under the car. So let's do this. There you are. The final zip tie holding this together. Oh. Oh, Oh, there's more, no. Where does this bloody fucking thing go? To the back. Ah, we're off to the back. Where do you go? There they are. Where are you? There you are. And you go all the way up into the boot. Oh, that's a lot of zip ties, isn't it? There you are. Crikey. LPG out. And just like that, the Wildcat was finally LPG free. It was now running on petrol. This was a big moment. As I said before, it just was so not right for the car, and you guys all agreed, so this is a huge step. But before we can put a proper fuel tank in this thing, I needed to clean the boot out and just sort of get rid of the final remnants of LPG's existence. Then we could move on to some more fun. The boot was now free of debris and ready for a fuel tank. But we'll get to that later on. An exciting package has arrived. So initially I was just going to bridge the sections on the original exhaust where we had boxes, but I decided I wanted something a bit deeper, as I mentioned, so I got larger pipe all the way through. So yes, we are going for a full, rather aggressive straight pipe. And I mean, worst case scenario, we put a silencer on it, but we'll just have to wait and see. Ta-da! But that does look quite an aggressive bend at the back, but Charlie hasn't realised that yet. Charlie in voiceover knows, but yeah, he'll find out shortly. So with the old and the new next to each other, the next mission was simple. Basically just cut all my nice new straight pipe to roughly the same length as all the components on the old exhaust, and then we should have a system that roughly just slots in place. The only bit I'm retaining is the original back bend, which goes from the downpipe. Anyway, let's build an exhaust. And that is all we are keeping. Oh, hello, Charlie from the voiceover here. Just a very quick message to say, if you haven't subscribed, please do consider it. The channel stats say about 50% of regular viewers aren't subscribed, so if you're enjoying this episode, please do consider it. Subscribers help make episodes like this possible, so I really would appreciate it. Anyway, back to the video. Okay, so we're sort of getting there now. I'm happy with the back section, and we've got one of the straight dual pipes in. I could just cut and sort of roughly guess, but I think I'm going to put the exhaust on the car, see really where this pipe gets to in terms of this area here. So we need to obviously, that's where we need to hinge around or arch around. So I don't want to just go off lining them up because we have changed things, albeit a very small amount. Nothing is very straight yet, but that is all fine. I don't want to put these on properly because I'm going to need to cut them. If I put both of them on, then it's going to be very hard to cut them. And yeah, so let's get this on. Okay, so taking you under, that is our original piece fitted to the downpipe. Then this is where the new bit starts. We do actually have a bit of extra clearance, so we can get that higher up. Then we go around, and there is the blast pipe, one of the two. And roughly where the jack is where we need to start curving round. So this is where you can see the pipe that's on it isn't straight quite yet. It's sort of skewed to the left, but that's all easy to remedy. But now we need to sort of figure out, I'll get it in a slightly better position, then we can figure out where we're going to put our 45 degree. Everything was going well until now. This is not good. 45 degrees is too steep. Cock. Right, so this is what I'm dealing with. We're obviously not going to be connected back here, but we're going to be more like here. So if I straighten that up, bodywork gets hit. So the angle we're running needs to be more like this. Like that. I'm going to see if I can flatten this out in the vise. I probably can't, but we're going to find out. The likelihood of this working seems very slim. Now, this was a stupid idea, and there was no real logic behind it, but I was feeling frustrated, and I wanted to achieve just before the sun set, so I gave it a go. But yeah, in hindsight, this was never ever going to work. No, it's doing fuck all. Bit. Yeah, we're getting somewhere. Let's see what's going on. Cock. Well, should have seen that coming. Got all those nastiness, but oh well, at least we can figure out if this is a better angle. And with 145 degree sort of cocked now, it was time to figure out what angle we actually did need. No, sorry. 25. It's 25 degrees, which would be... It's a 20. And a few days later, my new 20-degree angles arrived. Now, hopefully this would give us the perfect angle we needed. I hope, because this exhaust was meant to be a simple job, and it's actually taken way too long. It's always the case with cars. That should work. I'm going to cut there. Anyway, the exhaust fabrication finale begins. Like a big old pipe. Okay, so here is the first part of the exhaust on, and that angle is about perfect, really. If we went any tighter, we'd sort of be getting dangerously close to the bodywork, but that is looking pretty damn good. One thing I have sort of observed is just because nothing is properly together, we've sort of got a bit of an angle going out this way. Now, I'll put the other pipe on now and see how it looks. That might look quite good if they're both angled out, or it might look ridiculous, but nothing is actually secured, it's just sort of pushed into place, so yeah, but that is a good start. It really sort of looks the part, I think, the further back you get. It's just sort of, yeah, it's a lot more low drag. But let's get the rest of it together and see how it sounds, because yeah, this hasn't been tested at all. And with both pipes fixed in place using a hammer and a jack and some other bits and bobs, it was looking very good. I mean, it was very, very long. That is a given. And one of the pipes was slightly longer than the other. But that is fine. We will be cutting them. But next up, I need to tack everything into place. And then we basically have an exhaust-ish. And with the exhaust basically done, it was time to transplant the exhaust rear mount from the old exhaust onto the new exhaust. Now, I did feel a little bit guilty at this point, as I didn't really need to chop off the back of this exhaust, but at the beginning I thought I was going to be using the majority of this exhaust, but obviously now all I've really done is just chop the end off a perfectly good exhaust. But this exhaust really was only going to fit a Wildcat, of which there is only a handful, so oh well. And after making a few adjustments so this bracket would go around the new, much wider pipe, we're about ready to put it on. Fuck you. Now, this final stage was essential. The whole exhaust was welded together apart from the tailpipes. Now, if these were wrong or crooked, it would just look ridiculous. Now, everything is exaggerated at this point because the pipes are so long, but still, I wanted to get it right. This took way longer than expected. Wow, well, there we have a rather aggressive exhaust. But how would it sound? Like a bloody monster.
Quite loud.
Well, she sounds like a banshee. Very, very cool, very, very loud and obnoxious. I really like it. But for how long? Well, that's another question, but there's only one way to find out. But next up, we need to cut off these exhaust tips as they are a little bit long. They are sort of metal parking sensors, but yeah, let's get rid of those as a quick trim is definitely a good idea. These lines do not look straight that we've done.
Well,
And with a few final tweaks, we were there. I love the way this looks. It's far more in keeping, in my opinion, with the ethos of the car, and once it's paired with new wheels and all that sort of thing, it will really look great. But let's listen to it one more time. Quiet.
I think you need to do something about that quietness.
Yeah.
Noisier. Yeah.
Should we just bug the exhaust, just open headers?
Just have it come out of the
Yeah.
just behind the wheel.
That'll do.
Yeah.
Crikey.
It runs.
It does.
It's alive.
It's alive.
It's alive.
But an exciting exhaust is no good if the car can't be driven, and obviously right now driving around with a jerry can in the back isn't ideal, so it is time to put a proper fuel tank in the Wildcat. Now this is the last trace of the LPG, the old filler. So time to get that out and then we can start mocking up a new system. Oh, Steve, that stinks.
That's like sewage.
Oh, Steve, that's foul. With the LPG cap out, we could look towards our new fuel filler, if we could get it to fit, that is.
The nozzle thing there, go through all these gaps.
Sort of a bit of hittage, doesn't it? It needs to go about this, further this way, really. Yeah. And this was our new fuel tank. Well, new to the car, that is, and some nice piping we'd be using to direct the fuel from the filler into the tank. quickly ran into an issue, and that is we'd have to place the fuel tank at the bottom of the boot in order for fuel to flow nicely from the filler into the tank. And well, that completely dominated the boot and sort of gave you two awkward separate spaces, and it just didn't look great. But we still wanted to see if we could make it work, so here is attempt number 1. So yes, we could make it work, but it just doesn't make sense. It would remove the ability to put a spare tyre in, proper luggage, and it's just, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. And I prefer to have a more awkward way of filling up the car than completely dominating the boot space. So plan B, position the tank on the higher portion of the boot, which is probably where it was designed to go. Now I would have to open the boot to fill it in this case, just because of the location of the filler on fuel tank and all that sort of thing, but that is fine. Anyway, so time to get this thing in, and step 1 is to make a nice little recess where the drain plug can go. And with the tank in position, now we need to figure out how we are going to fill this thing up.
Yeah, look at that.
Perfect. No, it's not glamorous, and it's perhaps not the best option, and it probably won't be the final option, but I'm just desperate to drive this car and enjoy it, so that's what we're going to go with for now. And with that established, it was time to get this thing strapped down so it didn't fly off anywhere and get it plumbed in. Violent here. And look at that, mission complete. Tank secured. And so the final job of the fuel conversion is to get it plumbed in with the fuel supply and the breather, and then we're there. LPG to fuel conversion complete. And of course, the final job is to fill it up. Now, time to take it for a light spin. So some tweaks were definitely needed to make it run even better, but then, well, I got myself into some trouble. This was not the maiden voyage I'd planned, but here we are.
To jam it under there. Between the front and the back wheels. I don't suppose go onto it. That's making a bit of a mess. Yeah. It's all right. Here comes the rescue. The rescue Polo. Now Charlie's going to attempt to rescue himself with his own car. Let's see how this goes. Yes.
Okay.
Go, go, go. How do you?
Nicely.
Nicely done, sir. Nicely done. Skimming rope. Skimming rope.
Yeah, boy.
Right.
Yeah, boy.
All right, boy. All right. Right, I'll just go and check this back.
With the off-roading complete, it was time to continue the test drive. On concrete this time. And with Wildcat winking and making a racket, test drive 1 complete. Never a dull moment. So the test drive was complete, but the car still wasn't set up quite right. It definitely felt down on power. Obviously the carbs weren't even bass tuned really. We'd messed around a little bit, but we needed to get everything right, get the timing properly on point, get the carbs properly set up so this could actually be driven more than just around the car park. And after lots of small adjustments and tweaks and fiddling about, it was sounding a lot better. It still needed some work, but really I just needed to drive the car next and sort of suss it out and get a better feel for it and what it needs and go from there. Okay, so we have a straight-piped Wildcat. We also have a Wildcat that is now running on fuel, petrol that is. Obviously fuel is maybe a little bit broad. It was running on fuel before. Anyway, we did make a few alterations and it is running a lot better, but as mentioned, it needs tweaking. And I think really the carbs need a proper rebuild, just, you know, which is a job for another day, but it is happy. And this is the part of the video where I'd hoped I could say now it is running and driving well and sounding like a rocket, we could put some more appropriately sized wheels on. But I've run into a problem. These were my proposed wheels for the Wildcat. Oh, I'm going to put them down there because I'm not quite strong enough to hold them for the whole time I'm talking. These are what I'd hoped would give us the low drag look. Now you can get the real deal, which is the classic steel wheels, but they are thousands of pounds and I just can't do that. So these were a pretty close sort of option in my opinion. And anyway, The wheels have been a nightmare. This whole video has actually been a bit of a nightmare. So many things have gone wrong behind the scenes. I thought this would be quite an easy one in comparison to the Nova. You know, just build an exhaust, put some wheels on, happy days. But that has not been the case. The wheels. So these were sold as standard 8-inch wheels. You can see they're quite nice and wide. And they came all the way from Germany. Well, I say they came, 2 have arrived. Only 2. The other 2 have been lost. And I also had to pay a ridiculous import charge, which the seller should have covered. And to add insult to injury, they don't fit modern tyres. So these were sold as standard modern 8-inch rims, but they're not. These are actually 390 millimeters, which it does say here. But that was not shown on the advert. It just said they were modern 8-inch wheels. They're not. They're 390 millimeters, which is different. And that means basically they are designed for specific old style tyres. So the modern tyres I bought, which are over there, will not fit. And it's not a case of stretching, it's the way they seal, it's this additional lip. It's a different tyre technology. Now, I could have gone and got classic tyres, but the tyres that fit this are not really in production anymore unless it's for special old cars, which means you're spending sort of 250 to 300 quid a tyre, and they're not very good. They're just expensive because they're low volume. They're not expensive because they're good. So a modern sort of cheap tyre is probably a better road-going tyre than what I'd have had to have spent 250, 300 pounds on. So basically it puts these rims out of the question, not to mention I only have 2. So that is annoying. Goodbye, rim. Okay, so what are our options? Well, no, I've told you, you can't go on the car. We can't get tyres for you. I know I wanted you to go on the car as well, but that's just not. There's a spirit in the building. The spirit of rim. Stay. Okay, so what are our options? Well, option number 1, we put different tyres on these rims. Now, these rims will accept modern tyres. I could just go and put the modern tyres on these rims and it might look good, but in my head I wanted to lean into the low drag ethos. Wire wheels are not quite that, and they're sort of bolt-on wire wheels, which, you know, it doesn't necessarily make sense, but I do really like them, and I think a lot of you guys like them. So option number 1 is we put modern tyres on these rims. Option number 2, we are sort of limited to XJ wheels because that is what the hubs are. Another interesting option is these wheels, which are, again, original XJ wheels. I like them. They sort of look similar styling to like BBS, but I think they almost look too modern for this. They might look more racy and low draggy and all that sort of thing, but I just fear they might sort of cheapen it. They look great on an XJ, but maybe not this. But let me know what you think, and if there's other wheel options out there that you guys have in mind. I can't really justify financing those ridiculously expensive wheels. It's not worth it. I should mention there are lots of wheel options, but they're all quite narrow. This has 6.5-inch wheels on it. I really wanted to go wider, but really 6.5, 6 to 6.5 is the minimum, really. You can get a lot more options if you go down to sort of 5-inch, but then again, it moves away from the racy look. So the wheel dilemma is one that still exists. And on that note, changing the wheels is going to create even more of a gap at the rear. So what's interesting is the front has adjustable suspension. The rear just has standard XJ. So hence why the front sort of sits quite nicely. There's not much of a sort of arch gap, whereas the back looks like a monster truck, even more so since the LPG has been removed. Now, the front has adjustable coil suspension, and it looks like the back did have adjustable coil suspension because I've got loads of really dodgy, cut-up, rusty adjustable coils that came in the boot. But someone has replaced the rear suspension with standard XJ, which is why it's lifted it so much. So peculiar ride height is a combination of tyres and suspension. But I'm excited to say in the next episode on the Wildcat, we'll have hopefully figured out a rim solution, and we have adjustable suspension coming for the rear. So we'll be able to not only get these rims looking really good, whatever we go with, but also get it to sit at a really good ride height with a nice amount of sort of arch gap, a bit of tuck, a proper racing stance. So that is all exciting. But yeah, sadly, in today's episode, wheels have not been successful. What is going on here? It's a bit rough. Why is that so rough? What is going on? What is all this shite on it? Christ, good Lord, this needs a good clay bar. But I'm not quite done. I'm not quite ready to go home and finish this episode. There's 2 small modifications that I would like to do. 3 small modifications, actually. Starting with the front. This car is allowed to have classic number plates, which are black and silver, so I'd like to put them on because I think that would look a lot better. Again, to add more complication to this episode, only 1 number plate has arrived, so we're going to do the front. We'll do the back in the next one. So starting off, I'd like to change the number plates over. Then I would like to remove this grille because I just don't like it. It sort of looks like chicken wire. And then I would like to remove the Jaguar badge from the back. So let's do a few final bits and see where we're at. Another number plate. Come on, baby. Oh, yes. There we go. Look how bloody good this thing looks without a front number plate. I still need to do a little bit of cleaning, but crikey, that looks so much better. I don't know if it's coming across in camera, but in person, it just looks like the front end has just got, it was always good looking, but fuck me. I don't know if I can bring myself to put a number plate back on the front, at least today. I know legally, oh, there's a car in the background I can't show you. I don't know if I can, in my right mind, put a number plate on the front after seeing how good that thing looks without a number plate. I know legally I have to, and I'll have to figure out a way to drive this on the road. Maybe I don't know what the legality is of putting a registration inside the windscreen. People do it, but I'm not sure. One of you guys will tell me. But at least right now, I just can't bring myself to spoil the front again. Anyway, it's not leaving the barn for a couple of weeks, so we have time to figure it out. But wow, that looks so good. Look at this, just way too cool. So let's continue with the front. We'll use our new sticky number plate on the back, but I think I'd like to take out this front grille now and see if it gives us even more of a low drag look. I mean, this should be quite easy because it's sort of just bonded in, so I'm just gonna cut it out. Chicken wire removed. It's a bit screwed up, so I hope I actually like this new look. Please look good. Does it look good? I'll put the bonnet down just in case that helps. What about now? Right, let's see. Come on, please look good. Okay, that does look really cool. That does look cool. That does look cool. Okay, so I actually think that looks really good. I'm not sure if it makes it look too simple or but I think it does look really good because you can't really see anything that's going on inside the car. And also the radiator, which potentially could be an issue or a risk to get it hit with a stone, is a long way back, and it's also got a massive fan sort of shroud covering it. But let me show you and see what you think. So if I take you down, you can't really see anything until you sort of see the fan. In here, we have some yellow paint from, I assume, a previous color. Maybe it was yellow as well, or maybe it was blue, yellow, I don't know. But we could just paint all of that black inside, or we could just, we could also put a grille further back to protect the radiator a little bit more. But I do quite like that. But what do you guys think? This has to go. It's a Wildcat, and that's cool. Well, there we go. I think that just about does us for today's session on the Wildcat. I'd hoped we'd do more, but really a lot has been done. The Wildcat now has a ridiculous straight-through exhaust, which might get tiring quite quickly, but we will find out. But most importantly, the LPG system has been removed and it is now running on petrol, which is wonderful. The barn smells of petrol, which is a much better smell than, well, eggs, which is what the LPG smelled like, which just isn't fitting for a car that looks this good. On the subject of looks, obviously the number plate has been removed. We need to figure out what to do about that, but it just looks so good gone. And again, no grille. I think that looks fantastic as well. No Jaguar badge at the back and a stick-on number plate. So lots has been done. I really hoped we could have got those wheels on, but it is just not meant to be in this session. But let me know what you think we should do rim-wise, whether we keep the wire wheels and just get more appropriately fitting tyres or go for something different. But on that note, what is next for this car? Well, obviously, we'll address the wheel situation. We also have some very, very nice adjustable suspension coming for this thing, so it'll have a proper stance, which is really exciting. I'd like to continue to clean the car up. The engine bay is a little bit scabby, so I'd like to sort that out. Then, of course, we need to address the interior, which is rather awful, so that is going to be completely stripped, and we're going to put a proper low-drag racing interior in it. Simple missile switches, but very cool and elegant, of the correct era. And when we do that, obviously we'll clean up the boot area as well, which is the fuel system in it, which is functioning, but everything just needed to be functioning today. We'll make everything look much nicer when we sort of do the full interior section overhaul. So a huge amount of work still to do on this car, but it's fun work. It's not rusty and messy work. It's sort of just bringing it back to life and making it the car that it always should have been. So a huge amount of fun to come. Any build ideas, suggestions, anything for this car, do let me know down in the comments. But this is just wonderful. It's coming back to life. I can't believe we made it several hundred miles home and it is here, and yeah, hopefully lots more fun to come in it. If you enjoyed this episode, and even if you didn't, please do consider liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, all of that sort of thing. It really does help me out, allows me to keep making fun videos on these silly machines, and behind the camera there is a lot more silly machines, so lots of fun to come. And if you'd like to support the channel further, I've linked my Patreon down below. Over on the Patreon, we're behind the scenes, early access, sort of the patrons get to see what's going on in the barn, all the secret cars, day-to-day updates on everything. So the sort of exclusive scoop before YouTube does. But with all that aside, I'm just so grateful that you're here watching. So until next week, take care, and I will see you then.
It was going yeah, this one, that was just...
So we're getting too much pressure?
Yeah.
Steve.
Oh.